Lincoln. Paralysed. Flat on my back. This our world is built in endeavour. That every man is for himself.
First, Stockton-on-Tees. Hello, Brian.
Wealth is for the
Yes,
one
good
that
evening,
wants
Nick.
it.
Yes, good evening, Brian. Good to talk to you.
Paradise.
You said a coalition, Nick, you know.
Yes.
I think
What's
it'd be
wrong with a
successful.
coalition? Very, very successful countries are run by coalitions.
Yeah, but what would happen in ours? Labour, Liberals, SNP. Would we still have enough? Would you have to have the Greens and Clan Cymru? It'd be a farce, wouldn't it?
Why would that be a farce? It would represent more of the people than just one party alone. That's absolutely true.
Right. The SNP will have to have a guarantee independence vote.
Well, everybody would come to a concord. There
Would you like that, would you?
There would be agreement between the parties.
Would you like the border between us and Scotland, would you?
Because the individual parties all want different things, so they would have to come to an agreement.
Would you want a border between England and Scotland?
Oh, there is one, isn't there? Drawn on the map.
Yeah, we're on about, it's blocked up. You've got to have a passport.
Yeah, that's
You're all through it.
never going to happen.
Well, that's what she's pushing for. To make an alliance with Labour, she has to be guaranteed a vote
Right.
for independence.
Well, if Scotland wants independence, then why would they? Why should they be denied that?
Well, we only had one 5 years ago. But we'll go
Well,
on to...
yes, but something dramatic has happened in the intervening period, though, hasn't it, Brian? And there being Scotland, who
I don't think she's that bothered about the EU. She just wants
Scotland, who
independence.
voted overwhelmingly to stay in the EU, and are being denied that option by an overweening English government.
Say we want to remain in the EU. That woman, the poison dwarf, I call her, would still want independence. Even if we stayed in the EU,
Right.
she wants that above anything.
Okay, well,
We'll go to-
it's not an unknown to the people that voted for her.
I'll tell you what,
it's not in
she might get a
secret.
shock. She might get a shock this election, that woman. She thinks she owns Scotland. She doesn't. We'll go to Liberals.
She represents Scotland.
Well, she thinks she does.
Well, she does.
Right. We'll go to Liberals, shall we? Liberals keep saying, we want Remain, we want Revoke.
Yes.
It's a real truth. They're not that bothered. Look, they're out in the wilderness, weren't they? They've only come back in because they knew there was a 48% Remain. Right?
Yeah.
And really,
But do you think that the
just a second, Nick.
Right, go on.
It's the only thing they're after, getting as many votes as they can, as many seats as they can. That's the main reason, isn't it?
Well, that's the same with all of the political parties. That's what they're in business to
No.
do.
But they're saying they've got so much conviction on the EU. We want to stay in. It was only a few years ago. They voted for a referendum to come out. They've changed full 90-degree angle, haven't they? You know.
Well, so has Boris Johnson changed his opinions 180
Yes, I
degrees.
agree.
I mean, there's so many people who change their opinions from one year to the next. You'd be a non-thinking
Right.
person if the
There's only one
circumstances
person.
around you change and your opinion of
There's only
those
one
circumstances doesn't change.
There's only one person in a party who hasn't changed his mind, Nigel Farage. He's the only one left of them.
Well,
you know,
he's a standout.
you know,
Yes.
you know, he is, no matter you might call him, what you might call him, car salesman and all this, he definitely wants Brexit. The only one out of the lot of
Well,
them,
what's
really.
odd about his stance now is that a lot of people are saying that he is going to be the person who denies
I told you.
the country Brexit by
I told you 2 months ago.
by putting up candidates in seats that would
Right.
ordinarily be won by the Conservative Party, you might
But I
think.
told you 2 months ago, didn't I?
Did you?
Boris Johnson goes anywhere near Theresa May's deal, he's got big problems. I told you 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, but he didn't go anywhere near Theresa May's deal. This is a whole
Yeah.
new deal.
No, it's only the backstop changed. But
Well, what is it that you
95%
want?
there.
What is it that you actually want?
Right. He's putting himself in a bit. He went to the EU and he's went with 95% of Theresa May's deal for me,
Right.
the backstop.
Okay.
changed.
Right.
But
Wasn't that the main sticking point?
Right.
That was the reason that people who wanted to leave hated Theresa May's deal, supposedly, because of the backstop, which wasn't a trap. It wasn't a trap, by the way. It was put in place because we were insisting on putting up a border. It's because of our insistence that they put a border up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We insisted on there being a border because we voted. We voted out to take control of our borders. Correct?
Our borders, yes.
Right.
But it's the Republic's border as well.
Well, of course, there's two sides to a border. Of course there is. But we were the ones that insisted a border be in place. Let's take control of our borders. That was the whole point, wasn't it?
It was only your mate, Theresa May. She was clueless, right? Nobody's going to put a border up there if we remain or we leave. There will be no border there. We know that.
That's insane, Brian. You can't take back control of your borders if there is no border.
There's a Daily Mail tonight saying 4 or 5 pages, stand down Nigel. Blaming Nigel Farage, saying he's going to spoil Brexit.
Yeah.
He's not going to move on this. He's warned him all the way through it. Don't go near a deal.
Right, well, but it's such a bizarre thing to ask a man who runs a party to not put candidates up in case he wins, in case he gets votes. What a bizarre place we live in now.
Say that again. He's putting 600 up.
The Conservative Party are suggesting that Nigel Farage shouldn't put candidates up against them in case in case people actually vote for Nigel Farage's party. That's an insane position that we find ourselves in now.
But all the papers are saying he should stand down.
Right. Ridiculous. What part of that sounds like democracy to you?
It doesn't. He's the only one, as I've said, who was stuck by...
Right, but the flip side of that is the papers may be right in that if Nigel Farage continues to put candidates up in each seat, Nigel Farage might be the one that actually denies the country Brexit.
But I'll still back him. I'll vote the Brexit party because he's still the only one.
Even if you vote for the Brexit party, it might mean you don't get Brexit because
I don't care. I don't care.
Well, that's an insane position to have.
No,
you don't
if we don't get Brexit because of this, of Nigel Farage's stance and Boris Johnson's, it's both to blame, right? If we don't get Brexit.
Well, but how is Boris Johnson?
There will still be a third one.
How is Boris Johnson to blame for not getting Brexit? He seems to be busting a gut to try to get Brexit. He wants to go down in history as the man who got us Brexit. That's his thing.
Right. I don't agree with you there. Right. Now, he's in a situation now where Nigel Farage has come out and said, give me a phone call. He said, at least give me this and I will back you. We know he can't go back on the deal he is now thinking. He's too far down the line to change that deal now. He's got to go.
Of course, it's a ridiculous thing for Nigel Farage to ask Boris Johnson to ditch his deal. He knows he's not going to do that.
He hasn't asked him to ditch it. What he said is, I will come to compromise still if you tell me, we make a deal and at least after 1 year of leaving, if we don't get a trade deal, we walk away then. He's told him that.
What?
And he's still... once we leave, right, say Johnson wins, Farage backs him, and they win, we leave.
But he isn't backing him. He's the opposite of the case.
We're saying we will back him if he does this. If Boris Johnson now...
Yeah, chucks his deal.
No, not chuck his deal. We go into the deal... The deal is with a backstop change. Yeah,
and if we don't get a full and complicated trade deal inside of 1 year, how are we going to do that? It's been 3 years. We've been trying to negotiate our exit, and that's the easy part.
That's what Nigel Farage is saying. It could go 3 years, 4 years.
It could go 10 years.
Deal. Yes. So he's saying to Boris Johnson, you give me this. After 1 year, if we get nowhere in trade deals, walk away then. And I will back you. And I think Boris Johnson's going to have to do that.
No way.
I think, well, Farage is not going to switch. He's not going to move. He's told him, I'm putting 600 candidates up. You don't change this and give me more on this deal, after we leave. We meet the back,
okay. It'll be 600 people that no one has ever heard of. But that's part of my objection to the system that we have. I'm running out of time now, so I guess I'll get into this after the news.
Problem is, Nick, we know the 600 who's there. They're useless. There couldn't be any worse than them, could there? Hey? Come on.
Well, yes. Some of them are
We're only making plans for Nigel. Come on, Nigel.
True.
Sort this rubbish out, the three main parties. They need replacing, the Lords needs chucking out, and Nigel Farage, if he gets a number of seats, will do it.
Right, so...
He will.
Okay. But it seems unlikely on current polling that will happen.
I think he'll get a few seats, a coastal seat.
Yeah, but you don't...
definite.
Yeah, well, it's not, nothing is definite.
And he'll get a few seats in the North and Midlands as well.
You're just making this up, Brian. You say it out loud as though expressing it makes it true. It's all about feelings now, baby.
I'll bet an even party gets more than 10, 15 votes.
Yeah, sure.
MPs.
Okay.
He'll get more than 10 or 15 MPs.
All right, okay. Well, my advice, Brian, is try decaffeinated coffee because you seem to be very, very het up.
Good talk, you Nick, anyway.
Right, cheers, Brian. Ta-da. Lewisham. Hello, Jane.
Hi, Nick.
Jane.
Donny. All he wants is America how it was in, like, the beginning of Elvis Presley and those lovely, lovely Cadillacs.
What, white,
America
you mean?
It was a wonderful place.
It was white.
And it... Sorry?
It was white. Is that what you mean? He just wants to make America white again.
No, I said he wants to make America how it once was. It was
well, what kind of a thing is that to
place.
want? It's a ridiculous thing. You want to go back in time? Not even Cher can turn back time.
He can't. That's just it. He can't. But America and our globe can be, with this modern technology, can be absolutely marvellous.
Huh? What modern technology?
Technology, well, that's what makes everything better, isn't it? Mind you, the electric might run out on my phone.
Technology makes everything better. No, it doesn't.
It does. Anyway, what's gone wrong with England, America and our globe, and what's brought about Brexit is too many people have had too many children instead of two. So what we need to do now is promote the one-child policy.
Yeah, very bad idea.
Around the globe.
Very bad idea.
No.
It is.
What do you want then? Just keep adding to the population.
Well, unfortunately, Jane, we've got no nuclear war. Is that
what you want? A nuclear war?
Yes, actually, it is. I'm yearning for a nuclear war, Jane, because that seems the most sensible policy to pursue.
Yeah, well, you might blow the planet up.
So
about that.
So the
then
option,
you'll have nowhere to put your feet on.
I know you.
And none of all these billionaires have anywhere to put their feet on.
Where will you put your stuff?
They need to really, really think what they are doing.
One-child policy is a disastrous policy. China's already showed that. Absolutely.
No, they never stuck to it. That's what's gone wrong.
No, what went wrong was that there's now way too many men and not enough women.
Yeah, well, they didn't appreciate the woman, did they?
Well, no. But
now they do.
Well,
now they do.
I'm not sure
and
that's
they
true.
never stuck to it. If they'd have stuck to their one-child policy...
Then it would have been a catastrophe.
No, they would have 500 million. Instead, they've got 1,400 million.
Unfortunately, Jane, it's like a pyramid. It's like an inverted pyramid. If you have fewer babies being born, then that generation won't be large enough to support the bigger generation that came before.
They all support themselves.
Who do?
They don't. The larger population.
Old people do not support themselves. They're supported by the people that come up behind them.
No, they do support themselves.
No, they don't. If there is no generations
this is absolute waffle, Nick.
Jane,
our globe is very, very overpopulated.
It's not true.
Our globe's in trouble.
It's not in trouble.
It cannot breathe.
Oh, please. We can't breathe. The globe's doing just fine.
No, there's nearly 8 billion people. No, the oceans are being
If you
polluted.
drive 5 minutes out of
polluted.
any town in this country, all you'll see is green. We're not full up. And this is a tiny, packed little island.
We cannot feed. Yes, it is packed. That's why
It's not packed.
We cannot.
I just described. If you drive 5
minutes.
minutes out of any town in this country, Jane, all you see is green. It's not full.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of driving, right? But that is still
that's
not enough
alarming.
to feed the population that we've got now. We have to stop immigration.
We don't have enough to feed the population we've got. What on earth are you talking about, woman?
That are having too many children.
In what parallel universe do we not have enough food to feed the people in this country? People in this country have doubled in size. Personally.
Yes, because they're not eating good food, and they're not. A lot of them are.
No, they're eating too much food. It's because we have got too much food. Calories are too easy to acquire. That's the problem.
It's all the wrong food, isn't it?
No, it isn't
and
all the wrong food.
Women are working as too soon after having babies.
God, there's no end of rules at your place. You can't have any more than one baby. You have to wait a specific time after you've had birth. Eat good food. Good grief.
Yes, what's wrong with it?
It's like being at school.
I didn't say one baby. I said it's better if you
But it
had
isn't.
one baby.
It isn't.
Yes,
because
it is.
No, you're wrong about that because there's not.
I am
won't.
not wrong.
You're not a teacher. Hey, Jane, are you a teacher?
Listen, if this globe
Listen to me, Jane.
2.8
Listen. Are you a
it
teacher?
could have exactly.
Jane, stop speaking for a moment and answer the question. Are you a teacher?
No.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that long pause as a yes. Oh my God, we're all in great danger. We're in big trouble, huge. Hartlepool. Hello, Brendan.
Good evening.
Brendan.
Hey, tell you what. Yes. How are you?
Great, mate.
Good. I'm part of the 70% of our town that voted to leave. So are we all knuckle-dragging racists who hate foreigners and xenophobic, or what?
I don't know, Brendan. Are you?
Well, I'm not. I know I'm not. I know why I voted to leave, and I read the bits of paper that were sent to every household by that wonderful guy, Mr. Cameron, saying this will be a one-off vote. Whatever you decide, you underclass of people, we will enact that decision. Thinking full well he would win, and he didn't. He lost.
Yeah.
So, and then the, 2/3 of the MPs who were all Remainers in Parliament have decided that they know better than us.
Well, they do. I mean, that's what they're paid to do, know better than us.
No, they don't know.
Of course they do. Why have an MP at all if you're going to make the decisions yourself? What's the point of that?
Miss Abbott knows more than I do.
Huh?
Miss Abbott. When she said they were going to employ 3,000, was it 3,000 more policemen at £1,000 a time? And she worked out,
So that's your argument that Diane Abbott once got her sums wrong. Therefore, all MPs are useless from that point on.
Oh, I didn't say that. I said the one.
Well, yeah, that was the implication. We must listen to no MPs because Diane Abbott once got a sum wrong. 0345 6060 973. What is the point? I mean, the fantastic expense of having 650 MPs with all the expenses and all the people that hang on around them and the vastly expensive building that they occupy and all of the rest of it. What's the point of all that if we're just going to do whatever Brendan in Hartlepool says? New Forest. Graham.
Hello.
Graham.
Is that Nick?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. I've tried to get on with Nigel Farage, but unfortunately I wasn't accepted.
Well, a lot of people have tried to get on with Nigel Farage. And it didn't go very well for many of them.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yes, exactly. So So I've got 2 points to make, really. First, on the Brexit deal.
Yeah.
I think Boris Johnson has done his best.
Really?
Yes. I think the
now, is that damning
UK
with faint praise?
Or the European Union. It's gone on far too long.
Yeah.
And whatever deal he's done has got to be the best deal possible for the UK.
Well, what does that mean? So you just trust him regardless of what he comes back with?
Well, no. I don't trust him implicitly. However, I do not trust the Labour Party leader.
Right. Well, it's got nothing to do... Well, it has precious little to do with him. He ain't negotiating.
Well, it actually has, because if he got into Parliament, who would trust a terrorist sympathising leader like him?
Well, oh God, here we go. For every wait a minute. For every accusation that you throw at the bearded Beelzebub, you could throw another highly similar accusation at the Conservative Party.
Sorry?
Yes. Catch it up on podcast. I'm not going to repeat that again. If people go on and on and on and on and on about the anti-Semitism that appears or is reportedly rife, and believe me, I don't want to take any more calls on this because there's no humour in this topic. But they just go on and on and on about it. It's like like sharks scent blood in the water, and they're just going to go on and on about this. But look at the Conservative Party. Do we do deals selling weapons of mass destruction to Saudi Arabia, who then use them, and we know that they use them to bomb hospitals and schools? But that's perfectly okay. That's all right, because it's all about the money, honey. Yeah, there's appalling behaviour on all sides. This says, if Boris is 13 MPs short tomorrow, it will represent 52% to 48% in Parliament against Boris's EU deal. How ironic. Well, anything might happen in the next 24 hours. Isn't it exciting?
No.
Well, kind of. Mark on the Isle of Wight said, in the Isle of Wight or on the Isle of Wight? I know I've had this conversation before, but when does an island become large enough that you're in it, not on it? But he says, Mark in the Isle of Wight says, Nick, I'm also in Christmas mode. I've been playing my Partridge Family Christmas LP all week. Merry Christmas to you, old chap. Yeah, get lost, Mark. And I mean that, with all the cheer of the season. And this says, actually, Abbot, the pound has gone up in the last couple of days. What's that got to do with anything I'm talking about? It's like you're refuting something that I've said. Like I said that the pound has gone down. I didn't say the pound has gone down. People are just making up things to complain about, I've said. Graham is literally still talking. Are you still talking, Graham?
He does get into...
all this time he's been talking. He's not remotely interested in anything I'm saying. In fact, he's not even pressed the phone to the side of his head. He's just yakking away.
I know he is, yeah, but for argument's sake, say Jeremy Corbyn does actually get into power and goes into Downing Street. Mm-hmm. What deal could he possibly make with the European Union that Boris Johnson can't?
Well, can't or won't. Well, it's not the can't part, it's the won't part.
But Jeremy Corbyn stands there and he states in Parliament that he can make a better deal.
Well, I don't believe he actually said those words, but what difference does it make, Graham? He's not doing the deal. Why are you fantasising about it?
Well, I'm not fantasising about it.
Well, it sounds like it.
Well, no, I'm not.
It sounds like you're making stuff up just to complain about.
However, he's the only one that's actually stepped forward and done something about moving forward on Brexit at this present moment.
Who, Boris Johnson?
Yes.
Well, what about Theresa May? Do you remember her?
Yes, but she... Well, I think everyone in the country wants to actually forget about Theresa May.
Why?
Because she was awful.
In what regard? What was so bad about her deal? I bet you can't tell me.
No.
See, you can't tell me. Okay, good work. Thanks a lot, mate. News. Marc Francois has announced he's backing the deal. He made an announcement, did he? Because people were on the edge of their chairs. I wonder what that highly trained army person is going to say next, they thought. Well, he was, in the armed forces, at least on the occasional weekend, and he wasn't trained not to back a deal. Tony says, the Nick and Carol show is going to be on longer than Brexit. Get on with it. Yeah. Well, it's out of my hands. We've done 10 of them already. In fact, we've done more than that because we had a run up at it. And we kind of changed our minds about what it should be about halfway through. So we've done 10, but it's got nothing to do with me anymore. I've given them up, like a chicken gives up its eggs. My precious eggs. Darrell in Hove says, if Parliament backs Oliver Letwin's amendment, is he still talking?
No, my second point was on climate change. do you mind talking about climate change?
Oh, God. All right, then. Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry to put you in such a promiscuous situation here.
Excuse me?
I'm a heating engineer.
A promiscuous situation?
Well,
what on earth do you mean by that?
Disgusting.
Hello?
Yes?
Oh, sorry, I thought you'd gone. I'm a heating engineer. I live and work in the New Forest, and I've been watching all this TV coverage about the climate change.
Yeah, don't tell me it doesn't exist. It's got nothing to do with us.
No,
it's just weather.
It does exist.
Oh, right. Got that wrong.
And this is my point.
Yeah.
It's in my own best interest to burn fossil fuels. I do oil and gas and LPG, and that's my whole profession. Mm. The one point I would like to make is the move towards green energy.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Thanks a lot, Graham. Good grief. Well, you're talking about wind energy?
I know a lot about wind.
Maidstone. Hello, Dean.
Hello, you all right?
Dean.
Yeah, you mentioned about the Daily Mail poll that you said leave, remain, or leave with a deal.
Yes.
So if you're going to do that, why don't you add on there remain like the Germans with the euro included? Because then you'd split the remain vote as well, and then we might have a bit more of a chance as leavers.
Remain like the Germans?
Yeah, so fully in, completely with the euro, lose the pound, take on the euro, and go fully into Europe, more than what we were before.
Right.
Because that way the remain vote would be split, as well as splitting the leave vote.
Yeah, but you're just making things up now, Dean. There was
no, because you're making things up. You're saying, we have to leave with a poor deal, or leave.
I'm making things up. I'm reporting what the poll in the Mail said.
I know, but the poll in the Mail also said that Corbyn's less trustworthy than Boris Johnson.
Yeah, but that's not the issue. We're not talking about that.
No, but you're choosing certain bits out of the Mail to tell people.
Of course.
If the Mail is that the poll's poor, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
No, it's not fair because the Remain has got one choice and Leave has been split and has split their vote by 2. So if you're going to split the vote, you should split it into 4 and have Remain extreme vote, Remain as we were, Leave with a deal or Leave with no deal. That way you get a fair run of the mill.
Right. Well, you see, I thought I was confused before I started talking to you.
Yeah, we might come to a better conclusion.
Yeah, it's like you put my brain in a blender. Please, make it stop.
Also, yes. I'd like to mention about the deal. I don't agree with the deal. I'm quite glad that it didn't go through. It threatens to break up the Union, cut off Northern Ireland, and on the back of that, potentially lose Scotland. This is supposed to be a good thing. I'm a leaver, but I'd rather remain than sign up to this deal.
Right. Okay, good to know. Weybridge, hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
Jennifer.
How are you?
I'm great, mate.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank goodness, Nick.
Well, I'm glad that you're glad.
Oh, I'm wonderful. And
I didn't ask.
There's a special place in heaven for you, Nick.
Really? A place in heaven?
Yes.
I can't wait.
I called you. That's wonderful, isn't it?
Well,
now, the thing is, Nick, I need your help.
Yes.
what are the plans for the bridge between Northern Ireland and Scotland? Have we any idea? Because they could solve a lot of the outstanding problems.
No, they couldn't. They couldn't solve any problems. What is it with Boris and bridges? I think it just begins with a B.
Yes, but if there was a bridge between Scotland and Northern Ireland,
yes,
okay, all the customs checks, all the other checks, whatever, could be at those two ends.
Yeah.
And all other transport between England, Great Britain, and Ireland, apart from this bridge.
It wouldn't make any difference.
Well, why?
Because there would still be a border between north and south of Ireland. Arr.
Ah, yes, but we'd be treating Ireland as a special case, which I think is quite important. Not a lot of people have realised that it is a special case.
It is a very special case, yes.
And it could solve all these problems.
Wouldn't solve a single thing.
Why?
What is it with Boris and things that begin with B? He just is obsessed with appending his name to something that begins with B.
This could be his only sensible suggestion, Nick.
Right, I very much doubt it.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I'm not saying he's had
Explain
other...
to me.
Huh?
Why?
Well,
Why not?
It wouldn't solve the problem. Whether it comes over by bridge or by boat, it's still got to pass the border between the north and the south.
Yes, but it must go through Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Ban everything else. Okay?
If you say so, Jennifer.
Nobody realised that?
No, because it's not true. That's why nobody's realised it.
That's a bit of a problem.
It is, that is an issue with that whole bridge scenario, yeah.
Yes, I just wondered where his plans had got, because he did suggest it.
Did he? Yeah, well, he suggests plenty of things, most of which should be ignored at the moment that he says them.
But I thought this particular one might hold a bit of
water
traction.
Okay, leave it with me, Jennifer, and I'll run it up the flagpot. Yeah, okay,
Nick?
all right, I'll do just that. Thanks a lot, Jennifer. Completely incorrect in every respect.
I think he's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
She is calling Watford. Hello, Sean.
Hello there, Nick. You all right?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, no, I basically just wanted to say, I think Boris is a brilliant Prime Minister. I mean, at the end of the day, the man does what he says he's going to do for the British people. At the end of the day, you've got all of the Labour Party that everyone knows it's a fact that the vast majority of them, they're all Remainers anyway, right? But
well, you could say the same for the Tories.
The thing that annoys me, mate, is that 17.4 million people voted to come out of the EU.
Yes.
Now, do you know what I mean? For one, I personally think that, do you know what I mean? If the deal can't be reached, and just leave without a deal, so what? Who cares? Do you know what I mean? We get out. The Parliament's delivered what the people want. Everyone's happy, apart from the select few MPs that want to stay, want us to remain in the EU because.
And the majority of the people who live in this country want to remain in the EU. You don't forget that.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, is that
I wasn't expecting you to agree with me. The majority of the people in this country want to remain in the EU.
Yeah, but the thing is, 17.4 million.
Oh my
people
God! Stop quoting that number at me. It's meaningless. 17.4 million people. So what? So 50 million people didn't vote to leave the EU.
Okay, but in the house, you've got to realise, in the House of Commons, all they're doing is they're constantly just outing Johnson. It's like they're looking at him and they're just like, they just want him to be the scapegoat. They're just constantly going on at the man all the time, and all he's doing is trying to deliver what the people want. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but we've already been over this, Sean. It's not what the people want. It's what a slight majority of the people voted for on one day in the dim, distant past.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, and I'm not trying to sit there and continuously quote you with, 17.4 million, like I said a minute ago. But all I'm trying to say is, mate, is that at the end of the day, a referendum happened, right? The referendum result was leave the EU. Simple as that. 3 years later, still, do you know what I mean? We still haven't left yet. because they're just
because it's a parliamentary democracy, and the people that we've elected to act in our best interests don't think it's in our best interests. I mean, if we want a dictatorship, I'm sure that would be made available to us instantaneously. I mean, maybe Donald Trump could run this country too. But as it stands, it's a parliamentary democracy, which means that you don't just do whatever the people who are shouting the loudest want. Dulwich, hello, Robert.
Yeah, hi.
Robert.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, hello. Well, here's the thing, Nick. When I did vote to leave, and I thought to myself, I just thought that this is exactly what has happened and was going to happen, and I thought the best way to do this was to use a WTO option and then negotiate a free trade agreement, because I really think that's just going to save a lot of time, and we'll end up with a better result in the end.
A better result than what?
Well, what we're seeing now, the whole idea of a withdrawal agreement, which was May's creation, and all the wrangling and the years and years of interpretation and lawyers getting involved. You know, in business, you want to avoid using lawyers because it's a crapshoot in the end. You want to just know where you stand, and people who want to invest want to know that as well. So I figured, well, there is a WTO option, if you like, and then once you're out and you're not paying $1 billion a year, you're more likely to get your free trade agreement. And I just thought it would be bumpy, but we would get a free trade agreement in the end.
Well, bumpy is putting it mildly. It would decimate the agricultural industry for a start.
All these things.
An enormous number of people would be put out of work. Entire industries would fall.
Nick,
companies would leave. Bumpy.
I think those are the things that could be overcome. I think that you could use some of the tariffs that you might, because we're a net importer, we could use some of the tariffs to subsidize the industries that we thought are strategically important to us. But the point is this: after 3 years of all this, with this deal that came up recently, and I haven't read the deal, but I trust what you guys are saying, and I listened to all the different sides, and I figured to myself, you know what, Rob, you're just going to have to compromise, because that's what we have to do in life sometimes. And I thought I thought it was a better deal than May's, because it got rid of that backstop.
Well, did it?
I thought just accept.
I thought it added. What, really? I thought it actually added this.
I don't know.
People put these red lines. Were absolutely. Boris Johnson said it himself. He said, I would never agree to there being a border in the Irish Sea, and that's exactly what he came back with.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, it didn't annex Ireland because remember with May's agreement, they had that contract in the agreement. It had XX, as in it could last 100 years. Point is, I was willing to compromise. As a Brexiteer, I was willing to compromise. I thought, just get this deal done, and let's get on with it. And when I look at what's happened today, I think to myself, you know, where do we go now? We are actually going to end up. Well, we are in a situation now where many, many people in the country feel that their own parliament is acting against them. They may claim, they can claim all they like that they're acting on our best behalf, but so many people in the country don't believe that. And I think that's bad stewardship on behalf of our leaders.
Well, maybe, but they've been put in a very difficult position by being instructed to enact something that they feel that they know is going to be detrimental to the economy. It already has been. And so it's a very difficult circle to square.
Point is, I was willing to compromise.
Right, okay, well, I understand that. But the compromise is that Boris Johnson's deal hasn't been killed. It will, in all likelihood, I suspect that we're going to leave at the end of October, just as he predicts and wants. But it's just been, the OK has just been delayed a week or so.
Well, so what was the point of that? Why are they
Well, the point of it was that they don't trust him. They don't trust that he actually wants a deal. They suspected that this was a ruse on his part in order to get them to vote for his deal, as the Benn Act insisted. That was an attempt to paint him into the corner. But then they thought, well, you know what, he could actually escape that corner, so we're going to have to tie him down again. And that's what the vote was today. So
you think, honestly, you're saying that you really believe that having negotiated with the EU and had this breakthrough, we would, if we'd voted for this deal today, that then the government would spend its time trying to undo the deal that it had made such a fanfare about. I don't buy it, mate. And I think a lot of other people don't buy it as well. What people really think is that Parliament, which is mostly Remainers, we know that, just don't want any deal. They won't accept anything. First of all, they voted against no deal. Now they're voting against a deal. They just won't accept that. They just will not accept to deliver Brexit. And my point is this: it's not about whether it's right or wrong Brexit, what's going to happen next, and if it will be good for the country or not. You can't. It's very, very bad to have a situation where so many people in the country who are willing to compromise are effectively being told tonight, "Sorry, pal, you're not going to get your vote delivered on."
Well, I think you're taking this a little too negatively. I don't think that that's what's happened at all. I think that Boris Johnson has just been tied down to make absolutely sure that by accident, let's say, not intention, but let's say by accident, we crash out without a deal on October the 31st because he just didn't get all his ducks in a row.
So that would be like Boris Johnson. So what you're saying is because the guy wants to stay in his job, presumably. So, and he's worried about, I don't think he wants a no deal, really. I don't think he actually wants that. I don't think most of them want that. I don't think anyone really wanted that.
Well, I'm not sure that that's true. I think quite a considerable number of people wanted that.
I think
you did.
I just really feel... well, no, but I'm talking about 3 years ago. I'm saying you had 2 years to negotiate a free trade agreement, and if we'd gone straight away and said, look, let's talk about an FTA, otherwise we will leave using the WTO option. Right. And then
but the WTO option is going to hurt us a considerable amount more than it will hurt them. So it would be like threatening to kill ourselves unless we get everything we want.
Well, not really. That's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Well, I know. I'm being extreme to make a point.
I just feel that a lot of people were willing to compromise, and this would have been a good compromise, and they voted against it. And when you look at the people who are voting against it, the same people who are saying we want a second vote, all of them are Remainers, and they've all said that they don't want Brexit. So they are pitching themselves against people, and the problem for them is going to be...
I don't think that's right, Robert. The people are not they're an amorphous bunch. The people think all sorts of different things, and if you just go by the polls, almost every single poll since the referendum suggested that the people actually don't want to leave the European Union. Look at the nigh on million people that flooded London today.
Nick, every single poll in the run-up to the vote said that it would be a Remain win. So to quote the polls now, saying the same thing, it doesn't really mean much.
It does. It underlines it underlines the point that if every single poll before and after pretty much has suggested that Remain is the option of choice, then it rather does underline the notion that we do, as a whole, want to remain in the European Union. Halifax, hello, Bob.
Oh, hello, Nick. Yeah, I listen to your show quite regularly, and I'm trying to keep my views even balanced. To me, Brexit is like a nasty divorce. It's going to happen sometime, but there's not really going to be a winner or a loser because you're not going to keep both sides happy.
Yeah.
On the Leave side, how it was pointed out to myself, and by the way, I'm not a Remainer, not a Leaver. I'm in the middle at the moment. I did vote to leave, but subsequently, when you start educating yourself into what's about, you might change your view. But going forward, to me, in the EU, it's like going into a shop, and we've all done. You've gone in to change some money. You might go in and change the £10, and it gives you £3.80 back. And you say, well, okay, you give me £3.80 for me. Where's my £600? Where's my £6.20 gone? He goes, well, that's gone to a good cause. What good cause? He said, well, I'll all be accounted for, and you can look at these accounts if you think there's something dodgy going on. But after 40 years, we've never had an open set of accounts, right? So,
you're talking about the EU?
Yeah, you put your £10 in, you get your we get £3.80 out. Germany gets the only one country lower than ours. They would get £2.90 out. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what maths you're using, but we glean an enormous.
For every £10 we put in.
Yeah, Bob. Okay, Bob. But we glean an enormous amount for that.
No, hear me out. Just hear me out first.
No, right? I have heard you out. It's like saying I spend £20 a month on a gym membership, and they just take the £20, and what do I get back for it? Nothing, apart from the ability to go and enjoy the facilities of the gym. Right,
we get £3.80 back, but saying that, you've got to look at how all this has all came about was because it was handled absolutely abysmally by Cameron, because he got frightened by Farage's mob. He wanted to keep in power. He gave us the referendum, right? I agree with you in one thing. I don't think I'm not saying they were all totally thick, including myself, who voted leave, but I do think we were misinformed to a degree. Right. Now, the thing is as well, I've only done 2 jobs in my life. I've been in the army for 15 years and I worked for Ford for nearly 30 years, right? So it's a bit like the pension things, if you like. Do you know, in this country, right, we're meant to be the 5th biggest economy in the world, but we've got the 2nd poorest pension in real terms in the whole of the EU. We're now on a par with the German citizens. We retire at 67, the Germans retire at 67. They tried to put the French up past 60. I'm just looking at that. Yeah, past 60. They started writing in the streets, right? So we're subsidising earlier retirement rates, right, for other European countries. That's got to be wrong. And that's fact one.
Wait. We are subsidising earlier retirement rates in the European Union.
Correct.
Explain that.
Money. And
explain that.
Right. I will explain to you now. Right. I can do this from first hand. I was actually born in Scotland, but I've lived in. I was brought up in Leeds, lived in Yorkshire all my life. One of my cousins married. By the way, this was on the Jeremy Vine show on BBC Two. She was complaining that on the Greek crash, she had her pension cut down from €1,100 down to I think she was complaining down to 700. She'd been married to a Greek national for 3 years. Right. Now, they were explaining to her, why do you think you're entitled to that sort of pension? Right. Now, where they're 67 years old, it's going to go up past 75, so are the Germans, right? The French are at 60, right? They're retiring at 60-year-old. Now, the guy in question in our country who makes these decisions that we should all, soldier on in these labour-intensified jobs, is in an air-conditioned office. Now, the poor lamb, he's in his £900 Savile Row suit, and he's got to open he doesn't even open his own letters. He's then got to read his letters, move his...
okay, all right, well, I get it, right? I get it, he's well off.
But he retired at 59. Now, in this country, right, less than 11%, right, of the population get paid 38% of the pension pot that this country is currently collecting.
You've lost me.
That can't be right. Right. 11% of the population in this country, the elite, if you like, they are getting paid 38% of the money collected for pensions. Right. Now, from 1928, just after the general strike of 1926, the army, the military, they did a massive exercise in deeming the physical fitness age of a manual worker when your body was more or less spent, right? And it was 45. So how can you have it? And even the army to this day, you can join at 18. You can only do 22 years as a field soldier. You can get higher if you don't.
We seem to be straying off topic, Bob. What is the point of all of this?
The point of all of this is there's vast amount of money that we are wasting in the EU. The whole thing could have been handled better.
Yes, Bob, that may be true if we got nothing from being a member of the EU.
No, I'm not saying we don't get nothing, but we don't get a fair return on your money, on the money invested.
That's completely untrue.
Right, prove it. Go on, give me an example. I'll give you an example back. You give me an example.
Well,
and I'll prove you wrong.
I don't have the figures to hand, but we get something of the order of £9 back in benefits that accrue from every pound that we spend.
We don't.
Well, okay, so you're well, on the other hand, yes, we do. So that's where we are. Selby. Hello, Sylvia.
Hello, Nick.
Sylvia.
Well, all I want to say is I'm happy.
Happy?
And I've always been happy.
We found one. HAPPY.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Since 3 years ago.
Yes.
Since Theresa May, absolute rubbish, and we've got Boris Johnson in power.
Yeah.
And I want to say to Boris, stand by what the people want in this country.
Wait a minute.
We want out.
Mm-hmm.
And what I
We just want
to say
Brexit,
is,
in other words.
Are you listening?
Who to?
Right. What I want to say is the people of this country, we want to rule ourselves.
Oh,
we don't want to be under the European Union.
Yeah, the evil
You may be
European
correct.
overlords. Yeah.
And what I want to say is we will prosper.
Yeah.
Believe
Based on what? Have you come to that conclusion, Sylvia?
What I want to say is what we will prosper. It won't be hunky-dory, but we won't be under them. And I'm going to tell you, and this is what I believe in,
yes.
It will fall apart because we have got the gumption to stand by what we believe in.
It will
And
fall
you've
apart.
talked about
What are you talking about?
immigrants.
You're talking
Now,
about Europe.
immigrants, I do feel sorry for them. And they do play a good part in this country, but we've got loads of them coming into this country, and how the hell can we maintain these people coming in this country
Well, how
when our
about
own people?
How about, Sylvia, that they give us more than they take?
I'm not saying anything. They do good jobs.
But
what I'm saying is they're coming in dinghies, they're coming in lorries. And I'm telling you, when I were brought up in the 50s and war, and we had to stay put with nothing in bare feet and
which
going
war?
into rooms and what have you.
Which
We've been
war?
more free
Hey,
to
Sylvia.
other countries.
Sylvia, take a breath. Which war were we fighting in the 1950s?
I'm talking about 44.
Teds
the
and
Second
rockers?
World War.
Right.
And
You're that
I'm
old,
telling
are you?
There were no such things as food banks. We lived on bread and jam
Oh,
and
yeah,
bread.
I know. And you could leave your door open and no one would nick anything in the good old days.
Good night.
All right. Yeah, it's been an excellent night. I appreciate you asking.
Thank you.
Let's have Little Hampton. Rick.
Good evening.
Rick.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes, Rick.
Hi. Talking about Brexit.
Hey, Rick.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
It sounds like you. Yes, go ahead. Yes, Rick.
Hello.
Hi. Talking about Brexit.
Here's Rick.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Talking about Brexit and talking about 2 points of view, mainly. You've got the Remain campaign that talk about Britain crashing out of the EU if they don't have a deal.
Yes.
And you've got the Brexit campaign talking about a clean break. And it seems to me that both of these points of view are mainly to do around the border issue with Northern Ireland, yes?
No.
Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. What would you say that is about?
Well, it is an issue, but the clean break and the crashing out part are not having a deal. But part of getting a deal is trying to figure out a way around the problem that nobody thought of before the referendum.
But surely the answer to that is obvious.
Oh, blimey, if only it was. What's the answer?
Well, if you think about it, the clean break, if you like, has got to be the obvious answer.
Well, you keep saying obvious, but no one is thinking that it's obvious because everybody's been concentrating really hard for 3 years now, and we still can't come up with a solution. So,
Okay,
what is the obvious solution, Rick?
Well, here's why I think it's obvious, okay?
No, not why it's obvious. Just get straight to the actual solution part.
Right. Clean break without the deal, because the border issues then are no longer the issues of the UK. The border issue is now the issue of the EU.
Nonsense. It's because of our actions that we are insisting that there's a border. That's the whole point of this, isn't it? Taking back our borders.
Yes, and the whole point of a clean break means that you do not have to institute a border.
Rick, the reason that we're leaving is because we want a border.
We're leaving because, obviously, yes, we would like a border, but it seems to be a headache of how to distinguish what that border is. Is it going to be in the middle of the Irish Sea? Is it going to involve Northern Ireland? Is it going to be between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland? Yes?
Yes.
Right. So, if you leave on a clean break term, it's no longer the British Parliament's responsibility to sort that border issue out.
Of course it is. It's the border between them and us. Who's going to sort it out if we don't do it?
It has to be. Well, think about it. If you leave on a clean break, right? Then there's no deal. There's no deal on the table whatsoever. So the EU has to sort out the border issue. It's not your issue. It's then their issue. Yes, they will agree something with Northern Ireland, because that is where the border will lie, between the Republic and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, but agree something with Northern Ireland is agreeing something with us, because that's a part of Great Britain.
Northern Ireland is, but the Republic of Ireland isn't.
That's right.
That is ultimately where the border would be. It wouldn't be on Northern Ireland.
Yeah, but we're trying to avoid that, though. But when we insist that there's a border, how can we then say, oh, well, we don't want a border? It just doesn't make any sense. Our position on this doesn't make any sense, probably because nobody had thought about this before the referendum. It just struck people like they had just been belted like a dinner gong. Oh, yeah, the border. Right. When we're insisting on a border, there's going to be a border. We never thought about that. Duh. I don't think that is an obvious solution, Rick. Just running away and pretending that the problem doesn't exist is not an obvious solution. But keep thinking, and better luck next time. Let's have Merton. Hello, Mick.
Yeah, good morning.
Mick.
You were saying earlier on about if it wasn't for the immigrants in the country, they wouldn't be doing the minuscule jobs, so to speak.
Yeah.
The difference being is that they're quite happy to have 10 people living in one house, to picking up a tenth of the bill of the overhead or the gas, electric coming in, and they can actually live quite happily.
Okay, so let me just jump to the part where you say that that's the reason why they've turfed British people out of their jobs. But that hasn't happened, Mick.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we should be doing is, and I believe a few years ago, was the unemployed in this country, supposedly they was going to give them a job, make up the difference by their benefit in relation to what they were getting by earning money.
We have full employment in this country. There is no giant pool of long-term unemployed. That's a complete misunderstanding of the situation.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've got people who won't even go out there and they don't want to go out and work £6, £7 an hour because they can't afford to live otherwise. But when you've got multiple people living in one house, they can live quite happily.
Mick, again, but you're assuming that people have come to this country and are turfing British people out of their jobs. That's not happening.
Yeah, do you know what? I believe it is.
I don't care what you believe. Well, some people believe in fairies. It doesn't make it true. I don't believe. Let's have Ipswich. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Can I talk about Thomas Cook?
All right.
The funny thing was that the day after the news came out that he'd gone bust, and the CEO came on, I forget his name, but it had a German ring to it. I think it was something like Hermann von Grunwald or something. Totally different, but it's something German anyway.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, when he was talking, I thought, you know, they've run Thomas Cook down to save the German tourist industry, and then it happened. 2 days later, a German company that was 49% owned by Thomas Cook was bailed out by the German government to the tune of 338 million.
Yeah, well, that's a matter for the German government. Our government decided not to do that.
But
much to the disappointment of Herman the German, I bet.
But what I don't understand about that is, if they can do that to a tour operator in Germany, can't we do that to our steel industry? Because this is so much more important than holidays and whatever.
Exactly.
And we're not supposedly allowed to do that because it affects EU rules.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we can do anything we like to prop up our own.
I don't know.
Absolutely, to prop up our own steel bit. Well, you just told me that the German government stepped in to save their version of Thomas Cook, so obviously they can do it.
Yeah, but they don't care about the rules.
Oh, please don't care about that. I'll get lost, Gary. So seriously, I'm not having that conversation with you right now. Don't care about the rules. Germans don't care about rules. Are you hallucinating? That's their favourite thing, rules. Aldershot, Elliot.
Oh, hi, how you doing, all right?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I think things are collapsing.
Things?
Yeah, politics, just, I think people are giving up.
Do you mean that you've given up?
Totally, absolutely.
Well, when it comes to the day, you are going to have to go and vote. You understand that, don't you? You have to do your duty.
Yeah, I don't think I will be.
Oh, come on, Elliot, you must. Well, let me ask you this. The last time that we had an election and the last time that we had a referendum, did you go and vote?
I did, yeah.
You did? Right. Okay, that rather blows a hole in my argument. And are you perfectly satisfied with the result of those two polls?
Not really, no.
Not really, right. So you're going to have to do something about it, aren't you? You're going to have to vote twice this time round.
Yeah, but we've already done this. This is, you know, we had the one to leave and we had one to remain. We've already done it. I don't get why we're doing it again.
We've had the one to leave and the one to remain. What do you mean?
Well, we had a choice to either stay or leave, didn't we?
Yes.
And we're kind of doing it again. It's sort of like, why? I thought we already had the votes.
Well, we had a referendum on leaving the European Union, but that's not what this is. Although that's actually how this will come down. I mean, it is. This whole country's become a single issue obsessive. So we're choosing our parties based on, well, the usual. I've always voted Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, Green, Brexit, UKIP. Other parties are available. So I'm going to continue to do that regardless of what they say.
Right.
I think the floating voters are the ones that are going to choose, come down on whether they like the person on TV, which is frighteningly important, and the Brexit thing, the B word. Reading, hello, Peter.
Hi there. Thanks for having me on.
Peter.
I just wanted to challenge one of your assumptions that the polls reflect that Remain will win currently.
Yes.
I think the polls before Brexit actually occurred predicted that Remain would win, and of course that didn't happen. The same occurred with the US election.
Yes.
So do you think you're slightly misrepresenting the power of polls?
Well, the reason that it didn't correctly predict the US election, by the way, I correctly predicted both of them, but you know that's an aside. But the reason it didn't predict the American election was because, of course, Donald Trump actually lost by millions of votes. Just like I think the last Republican president to win the popular vote and the presidency was George Bush Sr. Because I think George W. got the presidency without winning as many votes as his competitor. They seem to have fixed it to the extent that even when they lose, they win, the Republicans.
Sure. Mind if I say my piece? Basically, I do acknowledge that. But the fact still remains that the pre-Brexit polls suggested that Remain would win. They did not.
But perhaps it was reflecting the will of the people rather than the will of the people who could actually be bothered to go and vote. See, there's a different. It's a different universe.
Well, that's quite an assumption to make.
Well, no,
people didn't go to vote.
Well, they didn't.
They couldn't be bothered.
Well, that's true.
And actually, that is a choice, by the way.
It's a
Choosing
what?
to not vote is a choice.
Yeah,
They're
I
saying
know,
they
but
don't
people,
care
a lot of people didn't vote because they just assumed that we were going to stay. The amount of times I've heard that.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'd also like to raise another point.
Well, I'm telling you it's true.
Well, we'll have to see. There was another poll that was looking at or analysing why people voted Remain or Leave. And often Leave voters are misrepresented as sort of immigrant-hating, racists and ill-educated people. In fact, when you break down the analysis, this is a bugbear of mine, lots of people voted on the issue of sovereignty, including myself, that actually long-term, although there may be some economic damage for Brexit...
Well, there's already been economic damage, already.
Yes, I don't doubt there will be. In fact,
there's already been enormous economic damage.
Sure, and I'm okay with that. My point is long-term.
You're okay with
I am.
that?
Yes, are you okay with losing national sovereignty?
Well, what do you mean by sovereignty? Can we just skip to the part where you say you don't like the rules and regulations that have been foisted upon us by our evil European overlords, and then I ask you which one in particular you're most aggrieved about, and you pause and then say all of them? Can we just skip to that part?
We can skip that part, actually. There's also a question of being in a cultural
sovereignty.
With Europe.
But what do you mean by sovereignty? You mean that we want to take back our democracy and give it to an unelected leader who answers to an unelected head of state and is overseen by an unelected upper house? Is that the sovereignty you're talking about?
Well, that's part of it, but there's also a sense of cultural union that we don't want to be in with Europe, I think, as well.
A cultural union? Like what?
Yes.
What, a cultural union in that we don't like French people?
Not necessarily.
We're still fighting World War II?
But we have a very different history to a lot of European countries. But
what does that mean, we have a different history? In what way?
Also, it started off as a political, as a trade union, has increasingly become a political union. So is it not fair to assume that is going to only increase?
Is what going to increase?
Well, we're going to enter more and more of a political and cultural union with the rest of Europe.
But you're saying that like it would be a bad thing.
Well, some people do think it would be a bad thing.
Why? Why would they think that?
Well, I would say on the whole, Europe has a legal system less based on absolute morality. They tend to be a lot more left-leaning. I also suspect they have a lot of
absolute. You think the right wing are more moral? Because I would suggest that the left would enact laws that are more in the interest of more of the people, and the right wing would enact laws that are more in the interest of those that have already won life's game.
Sure. I mean, the term right wing is a very heated term that has been misrepresented to people conflate it with racism. There are actual conservatives out there who don't hold.
Well, racism was not on my, was not part of my thought process there. You brought that up, not me.
Yeah. What was your point originally? Sorry.
About.
Well, your last point.
I can't remember back that far, Peter. What were you saying?
Anyway, I guess my point is that I feel politically and culturally very separate from Europe.
But why? In what way are you different from somebody in France or Belgium or Spain? Like when you go there on holiday, do you think, God, these people are like aliens?
Yeah.
Culturally different. In what way?
I think that the English are a lot more reserved. We're a bit more...
Reserved? Have you seen what's been going on in Parliament these last few weeks? Reserved? Berserk, more like.
Come on, you can nitpick a little bit in here, but
that's not nitpicking. Look at the state of this country. You think we're reserved? No, I think that is the reputation that we like to project to those abroad, and that's how people therefore see us. You know, we all wear top hats and carry a furled umbrella, and we have tea at 3. But that's not who we are. It's complete opposite of who we are.
I suppose what we are, we're about freedom under law, the rights of the individual, strong property rights, low taxation. That's what traditionally Britain's been about.
No, that's completely untrue. That's what the Conservative Party have been about. And all of the things that you've just said are helping those that have already won.
We are historically a conservative and Christian nation.
Oh, God, you're bringing religion into it. He's bringing religion into it. Warning! Okay, that's where I just back out the door, Peter. But bless you, my son. Let's have a call in Croydon. Hello, Danny.
Hi, Nick. It's today's everything that happened today was just childish. It was silly. It was. I want the second referendum. The only difference, I suppose, with me is on the second referendum, I don't want there to be an option of staying in the EU. Personally, I believe as a democratic country, we've made that vote. We've decided that do we want to leave or do we want to stay? And we have decided as a whole that we wanted to leave.
Well, 3.5 years ago, some of us said that we would want to leave. Yeah, but that was 3.5 years ago.
It was, but then you can say the same on the general elections. You can't just pick and choose when you want.
Well, no, but
listen to the vote.
I'm glad you brought that up, though. The general election takes place every 5 years, and
it does.
Now we've gone through 3.5 years, and with the sort of running in period, even if Boris Johnson had got his deal over the line today, it's going to be about 5 years since that referendum before we actually leave. So surely after 5 years, the people are justified in being able to express a preference.
That's when you then vote. That's when the next general election comes in. You vote someone like Labour. The problem is with that is, personally, I would never vote for someone like Jeremy Corbyn. After today's antics, I wouldn't also now vote for someone like Boris Johnson. I'm now stuck on who I would vote for. Do you go with someone that you don't believe can lead the country, or someone you don't trust at all? That's the problem you've got.
Right. Those are the options, are they?
Well, I just don't think Jeremy Corbyn would be fit and right to run the country, personally, and I also think that Boris Johnson is very untrustworthy. And when you have things like the not signing the letter, and you watching the Parliament, and you've got Rees-Mogg coming in saying what he said and then just walking out again, it's just childish and silly.
Yes, well, I can't disagree with that. It does seem childish and silly. But the Liberal Democrats are having a moment. What about them? I'll take that as a no. I'll take that as a no.
It's just no. It's just I don't know anymore. That's the problem at the moment. I just don't know.
Right.
But in regards to the referendum, I can't. I just think at the moment, if the vote happens now, the vote should be on whether or not we want Boris Johnson's deal, which I'm not saying is great, but I think it's a lot better than a no deal, or vote for a no deal. That's.
Honestly, I don't trust the public to have any idea what they are talking about if we give them that question, because they won't read the deal. It's 600 pages long. People don't read books anymore, let alone deals.
Then you can't trust the public to make the
decision
to remain in the EU.
And that's the reason why we're in this problem in the first place, because people were asked a question that they had no reason or justification answering.
And I totally agree. You can't leave these sort of things to the public, I suppose. You can't.
To dopes like me, exactly. All right, Danny. Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot, Danny. Blackburn. Hello, Scott.
If you think you're telling Brexit voters anything we don't already know about the economic interests of the conservative ERG types, then I can tell you you're not. I know they're Gordon Gekko types, and that they basically, after, it's like the GOP and Republicans in America, they know they can't win on a corporate low tax message, so they have to pretend to care about things like immigration and abortion and Christian values. I know they don't, but I'm using them the same way they're using us. And if they think Priti Patel thinks that she can convince us to take immigrants up north more after Brexit, then she's got another thing coming. Just because they might be high skilled, my whole reason for doing this is I agree with Denise earlier. Global interests have conspired, like bankers, basically holding governments hostage. If you don't do what we want, we'll leave. And that's what they've done. It allows them to cut the bottom 20% of white working class loose. They don't need them. They don't need to fear them. Governments don't need to fear their angry votes anymore because they have no consequence. But I want that to change.
You think governments are willing to ignore 20% of the population?
No, what I'm saying is they don't need us anymore. You talk about it with machinery. They don't need to fear their unemployed. They don't need to fear them at all anymore. They used to need them. The trade union, working class white vote used to matter. Even conservative governments needed to pander to it to a certain extent. Now they know they don't need to because immigrants and have got the vote, naturalised immigrants and middle class types in London. The both parties are hollowed out husks. They have no membership, but it doesn't matter anymore.
They have no membership?
It's very small. It's not what it was.
The Labour Party is an enormous membership.
Well, maybe only because since I suppose he has energised to an extent, but it's only a very recent phenomenon.
Yeah, but what has membership got to do with it?
I'm saying that democracy has been watered down to the extent that it doesn't really matter anymore. We're just an Amit nation. We're serfs. We are. We're just Amits. We're just a consumer nation. We don't make anything anymore. There's no cultural or historical. This is not the same country it was.
Well, that's not entirely true that we don't make anything anymore. We make a lot of things. Our manufacturing base is not as insignificant as some people may lead you to believe.
Basically, what I'm longing for is, I'm proud to say I hark back to an older age when there was real meaningful jobs like blacksmiths, electronics, carpenters, bricklayers, jobs.
There are still those jobs,
but less so. They can, like I said, they've cut the bottom 20% loose and they've left them to go to seed, to rot. They don't need them anymore, and I see that. But I'm a minority where I live in Blackburn. You've got no idea what it's like up here. It's like being in some kind of an airport. It's a giant way station. It's just immigrant, and they guru the place. They completely dominate it. You see little old white ladies like scared walking around the streets, like shocked. It's like, can't believe it's come to this. I get every week some random Muslim lad will walk up to me and ask me, "Do you want to take my number down for weed? Take my number down for weed, innit? Do you smoke weed? Do you want some coke?"
Well, you think those things don't happen in London, Scott?
Yeah, of course they do. I know they happen all over the country.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know what it's like up there.
Because what I'm saying, when you talk about, you're more of a multicultural. It's just Muslim dominated up here. Well, we're not multicultural though. It's Muslim dominated.
Okay, Scott. All right. Painful. Let's have Tottenham. Hello, Saul. An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes, Saul.
Nick.
Saul.
Hello. It's been so long since you made a comment that I don't know if anyone's going to remember. But I'm loving the show. First of all,
thanks.
I always do. I always like the show, and I always like listening to you. But sometimes,
yes.
But sometimes you say things which irritate me.
Me?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Well, you said that the majority of the older people,
yes,
want Brexit, and the younger, more educated people,
yes,
want to remain. And you sort of suggested earlier in this comment, if I could just play it back, but it was really strongly divided that the older people, the poorer older people want Brexit.
Yes.
And I just thought, you can't make a statement which says that, younger people are more educated than older people.
No. I didn't
can't make that.
Well, I didn't say that.
You did. You made that statement.
No. If you just hang on a minute, I didn't say that younger people are better educated. I said younger people, the better educated, and men, and or a series of other demographic markers.
No, you didn't do a comma. You went the younger, more educated people.
Yes, that's
right.
No comma. Yeah, the younger people and the more educated people.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is that I was just thinking, whether you said it or not, I just wanted to bring a point up, because I was just like, my next door neighbour, he's 90, and he's got a very strong opinion about leaving.
About everything, I would imagine.
But I was just thinking, nothing. And you mentioned stuff about Facebook ads and this Brexit campaign, all these dodgy Facebook ads. But half these people, you say, according to this idea that older people, they don't interest in Facebook, And I was thinking that what is it? What is it the old? Well, I was just thinking, what is it the older people project against? And I get this sense that when they voted to go in to the EU, it was just a sort of trading arrangement. And I think the older people have seen it change so much without anyone's.
Yeah, and I don't buy that. I think the older people are still fighting World War II. They are. The amount of World War II comments and terminology that keeps coming up over and over and over again, they're still doing just that. Look at the History Channel. It's wall-to-wall Adolf Hitler. Why? Because people watch it all the time. They're still obsessing about World War II.
And then I've got another thought. Is like I've got a friend who's like 10 years ago he was earning £10 an hour in a labour job, and he was paying half the rent. He says now he's earning £7.92 and he pays double the rent. And he says he was on a contract 10 years ago and he's on 0 hours contracts now.
Yeah.
And
that is by the way is after 10 years of Labour misrule. Oh no, that's right. They haven't been in power for 10 years. It's the Conservative Party what done that.
Well, whoever's done that, what it is, the long and short of it is, it's supply and demand. The reason why he's being paid £7.92 an hour is because there's a person to replace him at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Where he just said 10 years ago there wasn't. And that's just a simple fact.
Well, that's not really true anymore
now.
Well, not now anymore.
It's true
it depends on what you do. I mean, if you.
Well, I'm a musician.
Well,
so I'm not a labourer. But I was thinking that the thing I'm in a conundrum because I'm a musician in London, and I'm like, what about this point? So I'm having a chat with a friend of mine. What about this point system? If Brexit comes through, how's anyone in the arts gonna be able to come to the country? Because no one in the arts earns any money. If you earn £30,000 a year and you're doing that in the arts, you're successful.
Well, absolutely.
And how's anyone going to come to the UK?
People who are crossing their fingers, hoping for fewer foreigners coming here, are going to be sorely disabused of that notion once we leave the European Union, because there ain't going to be fewer people coming here, because our economy depends on people coming here and doing the jobs that we don't want to do. Let's see if we can squeeze one in. Bromley, hello, Luke.
Hi, good evening.
Luke.
Yes. There are so many reasons to be part of Great Britain and to leave the EU, their political union.
Yes.
I mean, there's just too many. I mean,
well, name one.
What, laws?
No, I thought you said there was too many reasons.
There's too many reasons to leave Europe.
Okay, go on. Lay them on me, baby.
Getting rid of the child benefit for migrant workers? The fact that
migrant workers give far more to the economy than they take out. So we would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we politely asked them to leave.
Okay, EU citizens, they can claim even if the children aren't in the...
Yeah, I'll refer you to the answer I gave some moments ago.
Yeah, so they can claim even if the children aren't in the...
I refer you to the answer I gave some moments ago.
Okay, but
you lost that one, Luke. Go on to another one.
Working time directive? Average person can't work any more than 48 hours. That's restricting people from working.
Well, the reason that came in is to prevent people from falling asleep at the wheel of a lorry and ploughing into oncoming traffic. I mean, I'm assuming that you would prefer to be able to survive your drive home.
Well, we all like safety. What about the diabetic?
What, like safety? What about the what now?
The EU stipulate that they have to make it very difficult for anyone who's on insulin to get a license.
To get a license?
Yeah.
To do what?
Well, if you're on regular insulin, the EU rule says that they have to make it very difficult to issue a license to drivers.
Oh, to drive. Right. Well, what happens if you have an insulin? I mean, I don't really know what living with insulin is like, but is it possible that you would have a blackout and drive onto the pavement?
Well, that's one of 27,000 rules that have been.
Each one sounds perfectly reasonable to me. Think of an unreasonable one.
What about the fact that only 8% of the whole of the EU Parliament is non-white? Does that show that equality to you?
Is non-white? Well, that's probably an accurate reflection of the demographic makeup of Europe.
Well,
it's a fairly accurate reflection of the demographic makeup of this country.
I think being Great Britain, and you know what, being able to say what we want when we want, including that we are a Christian nation, I think freedom of speech is important. Unlike what
and you don't think that the European Union is for freedom of speech?
Well, you're not, because you turned the other guy off earlier.
I'm running a show here, Luke. I can't just allow people to come on and speak until they run out of breath. Freedom of speech. You want this show to be more free for people to call up and disagree with me? I sit here for 3 hours a day, twice a week, being yelled at by people calling me a moron. You didn't get more free speech than this. Bedfordshire. Hello, Dave.
How are you doing?
Yes, sir.
Boris has played an absolute blinder.
Really?
Yeah. You don't agree?
Well, explain what you mean by that.
I can't believe that people are coming out tonight and saying that Boris not signing the letter is the first that they've heard about it. It's been on social media all week suggesting that this is going to be Boris's move. And I can't believe it got to today before people realised that this is what was going to happen.
And what do you think the consequences of him not signing are? Other than making him look like a stroppy child.
Why does he look like a stroppy child? How can he look like a stroppy child when you've had Anna Soubry and all the other Ramonas passing laws to do anything to stop Brexit happening? He's played them at their own game. He's been pushed into a corner. He's come along and said that we're going to leave on the 31st of October. And they've put every obstacle in the way to stop that happening.
Well, they put obstacles in the way to stop it happening in the worst possible way.
Why in the worst possible way? Explain what you mean.
Well, without a deal.
Why is that the worst possible way?
Because without a deal, then we will be presumably trading on WTO terms if we don't have do I really need to explain this now? We've had 3.5 years of this.
Well, no, but that's exactly the point. We've had 3.5 years and got nowhere. And Boris has come along, and he's had to lay the cards down and say, look, if you don't give us a decent deal, we will go with no deal. And everyone says crashing out with no deal. It is not crashing out. There is a system in place which is WTO.
Right.
There are trade.
But what do you know about WTO?
What do I know is that we've got more freedom to buy from people who will give us better value.
But like who?
Sugar. Look at sugar. If we used to buy sugar cane from the West Indies, and now we buy sugar beet from European countries. And if they can't supply it to us, and we want to get that sugar cane back from the West Indies, we get penalised. We have to pay fines. We have to pay penalties. We have to pay tariffs on a readily available commodity.
Sugar?
Well,
is there a sugar issue? This is the first I've heard.
No, there isn't an issue because we're not allowed to deal with it. You're trying to fudge past my questions, aren't you?
What's your question?
Or not my question. Sorry, my point that I can't. But my point was that everyone is coming along and saying I can't believe that Boris has done this. Yet everyone on social media.
But I don't see what you think Boris has actually done, other than appearing to be a stroppy teen.
He's done exactly. Well, why has he been stroppy? He's done exactly what was requested of him,
right?
Which was to send a letter to the EU.
Yes, and the EU have received the letter and are treating it as though it is a request for an extension. I mean, I don't know what you think he's achieved.
But they're not, are they?
They are.
They're looking
That's
into
absolutely what they've done.
They're going to give it 4 days. He's put a letter alongside it.
I mean, do you honestly think that the European Union is going to be in receipt of this letter and say, well, he hasn't signed it, therefore we must throw it away?
I do.
I don't think that's the power of not signing that letter, Dave.
Well, it's the power of signing or not signing any contract, isn't it? Because whether it's a mobile phone bill or a mortgage agreement, if you don't put your name to it, then it's no legal binding at all. You see, and this is the problem where you have presenters like you who are you're not impartial. You've obviously
well,
got
there's no
your
such
agenda.
thing as there's no such thing as impartial. Everybody has opinions on
Yeah,
everything.
I know, but you're steering your left-wing liberal Remain opinion all the time, and it's the same as James
Right, now,
O'Brien.
did you call Nigel Farage and complain that he is impartial, or did you think that he isn't impartial because you agree with everything that he says? Come on, Dave. Let's have a call in Langford. Hello, Darren.
Hello, how you doing?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, good. I've got a totally different view to you, but I'm not going to raise my voice or anything. But however, I'm going to contradict myself because I can't see the reason why Scotland wants to leave the UK, because I can't see the benefits they're going to get by leaving the UK. But I actually want to leave Europe, the EU. But sort of, so your argument would be to me, why would you want to leave the EU? Because you've got so many benefits. So
this is a perfectly self-contained call, Darren. You're presenting an argument and then arguing against yourself. Excellent work.
Yeah. No, I still want to leave the EU because I don't actually think that the EU is a very successful and there's lots of countries which have gone bankrupt. There's lots of countries which are in debt,
bankrupt,
like Italy, and there's lots of
every country on earth pretty much is in debt.
Whereas UK isn't a unsuccessful organisation, and like Scotland would benefit from being in the UK, but I don't think that Britain would be benefiting from being in the EU.
Yeah, but it has done. It has done, and it has benefited and does benefit
in the past. But but we are the second biggest contributor, as in money wise.
Yeah,
and we're going to pay. We're the biggest.
Again, it's not a one-way street, Darren. Any more than you joining a club and paying them your dues is a one-way street. You don't just lose the money out of your account when you join a gym. You get the benefits of being in that gym.
Yeah, I know, but there is a point where in any business or whatever, where you put more money in what you get out.
Yeah, again, we're not paying more money in than we get out. Not for the benefit of being in the club. We gain way more being in than we pay to be a member of that club. It's something like 1 to 9. It's something of the order of every pound that goes in, we get £9 in benefit out.
There's 27 other countries. There's about half a dozen countries which we get a benefit from. The rest of them, they're there, and they benefit from being in the EU because they've got nothing to offer.
Yeah, again, that's a willful misunderstanding of the nature of the European Union. Yeah, absolutely is. And it's just the same as foreign aid is just money that we just throw away. We might as well set fire to it. The whole point of foreign aid, apart from being nice, is to lift those countries up to the point that they can start buying our stuff, which is exactly what the European Union is doing.
Yeah, but there's like I sort of turn on the telly every morning, and I watch Martin Lewis. He's a respected financial person on TV and that, and he says to me, if you're in your 40s, you don't expect to get your pension, your national pension, within 70 and 75 years old.
Right. What's that got to do with the European Union?
But we've tightened our belts, and we've actually we've sort of done without lots of things. But then you've got lots of other countries in the European Union. We're still retiring at the age of 60 with a year's wage as well.
Yeah, again, but what's that got to do with the European Union? I mean, America retires at a different age, and Mexico does. It's got nothing to do with the European Union.
What I'm saying is we contribute to the European Union.
Again, this same argument again. I can't keep going around the same argument with you, Darren. I've tried to explain it as best I can in very, very simplistic terms, but you're just not listening. Ealing, hello, Anthony.
Hello, Nick. Well, I agree a lot with what you say as far as the north-south divide goes, because my family come from Yorkshire, from Wakefield, and I can assure you that in Doncaster, Wakefield, they voted leave, and Mr. Flipping Corbyn is always down here in the southeast, typical middle class socialist, doesn't care a damn about those people in the north, real socialists, from a real socialist working class background like me. And you were talking about belonging to a gym. Well, you can leave the gym unless it's run by the mafiosi or the Nazis. Is that like the EU? Is it run by the mafiosi? You know what I mean?
Unless
So
you join a gym that's run by the mafia or the Nazis.
Yes, possibly, but you're not allowed to leave. And on top of that,
No one's preventing us from leaving. What are you talking about? The European Union is not preventing us from leaving. In fact, I suspect they can't wait until we go.
Well, I wish that were true. Anyway, the other point is that we've got jobs. We've got absolutely right. Accommodation, hospitals, schools, we haven't got. Now, argue with that.
What?
Accommodation, schools and hospitals we haven't got.
Right. Well, that's nothing to do with the European Union either. That is because of serial underfunding by a succession of British governments. It's got nothing to do with the European Union that we haven't built enough houses, hospitals and schools. Oh, God. Brian.
Yes, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Brian.
It's going to be fun and games a week of Saturday, isn't it?
Why?
All the lines are being drawn.
Yeah.
And, they're going to be going full out for a second referendum, aren't they, the Remainers?
Good thing, too.
Well...
More democracy, that's what we need.
I'll tell you what, we're only making plans for Nigel if that happens, aren't we? He is going to take this country by storm.
Oh, please. No, he isn't.
How
many times has he tried to be an MP? Once? Twice? Three times? 4 times? 5 times? 6 times? 7 times?
I'm a nutcase.
7 times.
But you look at this trouble now with what they call extinction, whatever they call it. What's its name again? Mm-hmm. Right? Stop Brexit, and we stay in. You're going to see things on this street in this country you've never seen before.
What, white,
and I'll tell you what.
White dog do? Because I have seen it before, but not in a good long while.
And the Labour Party, the Liberals, and the Conservatives, they're going to get a big shock.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, they're going to be out in the streets in millions.
Sure,
and Nigel Farage, yes, he hasn't been an MP before, but he could become Prime Minister.
Nonsense.
If that happens.
There's not a cat's chance in hell that Nigel Farage is going to be the Prime Minister of this country.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
See, even he doesn't think so.
You've got... I'm trying to get a second referendum to keep us in Europe.
Yeah.
And if that happens, there's going to be big trouble in this country.
There's going to be joy pouring into the streets. People will be absolutely delighted. Finally, it's over. This nightmare that we've been going through.
I tell you what, you've never seen really yet any Remainer, any Leaver.
Yeah. Sure.
Big
Sure. They'll climb aboard their motability scooters and take to the streets.
You've never seen them protest much up to now.
They'll open their windows and grumble. Sure, they will.
Right, he's going to try and bring a deal back on. They're going to try.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's trying to me.
Well, he's trying a lot more than what Liberals.
Boris
Labour,
Johnson is trying. Well, you got that right.
Well, he's the only one trying to get some kind of a deal.
Yeah, I doubt it.
His hands have been tied, and now Remainers are making him take a very weak, a poor deal, really.
Yeah.
But
you don't even know what it is yet. Already you don't like it.
We know what it's going to be. It's going to be watered down because his hands are tied with this Ben bill. And I'll tell you what. What I would do personally was, I hope what happens, but I hope now that they do the worst a week or Saturday, the 19th, and they go for a second referendum. I hope they do it now. I hope that they test the people of this country, and they will lose.
No, they won't. They'll win in a landslide. That's why they don't want a second referendum, because they know that they will lose, because the will of the people is to stay, not leave.
You will create a major party in the Brexit party. Yeah. Even if they don't win the election.
Chance. The Nigel party is always going to rate about 10 to 15%.
Right. I'll tell you what, I bet they get at least 150, 180 seats, if that happens.
No chance.
And I think there could even be more. The trouble this is going to cause in this country, taken no notice of a vote. Democracy has gone out this country.
Okay, well, there was nothing democratic about the vote, Brian, as you know. It was run by won by con artists and foreign money, as you know full well.
No, and you know it wasn't. The thing is, right.
Oily second-hand car salesmen lied through their teeth about what it was.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was as many lies told by Remain.
Nonsense.
About pensions and all of that. We know all that. There was as bad as each other.
You know that's not true. How can you say that with a straight face, Brian?
Well, you do. Right? I'll tell you what. It happens, right?
Yeah.
Bring it on. And another thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't leaders just say that they say we get a second referendum, and you can just get a second referendum. Why don't leaders just turn around and say we're ignoring it, we're not going to even vote on it anyway? It's a joke. We've had one.
The sound
and then it's pointless having one, isn't it?
Zimmer frames clacking down the high street will be deafening.
Look. So you're being cynical again, and you can't be serious about anything, can you? You can't be serious. You know, you just go cynical. Your cynical view on everything, trying to make fun of everything.
Awful, this show, isn't it?
Look, the thing is, right.
I blame the person in charge. I blame the parents of the person in charge.
If we stay in the EU, if it's reversed, we stay in.
I know. Wouldn't that be marvellous, Brian?
No, this country we've been making the biggest mistake it has ever made. It's going down the pan.
I think that you're right. You'd have to be out of your mind to want a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
I mean, what kind of a person will want a second referendum?
We should have a second referendum.
Say it now. I'm
you
getting all
keep
emotional.
going, Nigel. Yeah. Nigel, keep the fire.
Okay.
Keep going.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Absolutely, yeah.
He'll win in the end.
Right. You'll win in the end, yeah. Okay, all right. Nice talking to you, Brian, as always. Romford. Hello, Denise.
Hello there.
Denise.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there, Nick.
Denise.
I've got a couple of questions. All we hear is from the Remainers, or the saboteurs as I like to refer to them. Will the Speaker of the House and the MPs who are trying to destroy Brexit, the ones who are making up their own rules and laws as they go along to fit with their own, going against the will of the people, will they be held before the courts for breaking the rules of Parliament, for making up their own rules and laws? Will they be held to account for trying to destroy the democracy in this country? And also, I'd like to know if someone will be who is financing all the anti-Brexit campaigners and campaigns.
Who's financing
them? Is anyone financing them?
Well, money's coming from somewhere, surely.
Surely that should be looked into. Who would be giving them?
If we look into that, then we should surely look into who's behind the money, the enormous amount of money that was spent on the Leave campaign.
Yes, because I heard you say earlier that the lawyers must be rubbing their hands together because they're trying to get everyone who voted for Brexit. They're trying to criminalise them, basically.
Are they?
Well, it seems like that. They're threatening court action. The first initial Supreme Court's ruling for the government was in favour of the government. They managed to get that overturned. It's like the will of the people. These MPs who shouldn't be in Parliament because they're supposed to be in Parliament to represent their constituents.
Well, that's exactly what they are doing.
They shouldn't be in. These MPs that are anti-democratic and anti-Brexit, they should not be in Parliament because they're not there serving their people.
But that's exactly what they're doing, Denise. They're trying to drag success from the jaws of catastrophe and make it such that we can leave without crashing the economy.
Well, I hope that the government's got good lawyers on their side, and I hope that they'll start doing their own little investigating on who's behind all this, because I watch a lot of the debates in Parliament on TV, and it just seems to me that there are people that were set out right from the start. It's nothing to do with deal or no deal. They were set out right from the start to overturn the will of the people. And Boris Johnson has only been put in this position, the same as Theresa May, and Jeremy Corbyn. I used to like him. I used to like his domestic policies. But I've gone completely off him now because he's helping to destroy Brexit.
Yeah,
seemingly he's helping to destroy Brexit. If we get Brexit...
but did you like Theresa May's deal?
No, I didn't
all right,
like
but do you like Boris Johnson's deal better?
Well, I'm not qualified to know. All I'm interested in is he's trying. If we get Brexit done, that's what I agree with. We've got to get Brexit done,
right, regardless of what it
means, and then concentrate on domestic issues and policies. And they're right in what they're saying there. And we've got to be careful
if the method of exiting the European Union means that we're all considerably poorer. Then,
no, I think it'll be the opposite.
But you don't know, Denise. You don't know, do you? You're just making it up.
No, but how long have we been in the EU? And this country is steadily getting poorer. Most people are living.
This country has got considerably poorer since the referendum.
We need to get our country back.
Please, that's a meaningless phrase, Denise. Our country back.
I feel like I can see ahead. I've got good intuition, and I believe I've got good intuition. If we stay in the EU, believe me, we're going to see more people sleeping out in tents as the years
Okay, well,
go
I
by.
can't believe you, Denise, because you're just making it up.
No, because there'll be no jobs for British people.
No jobs for British people.
No, because less and less jobs and you're going to see more and more British people, no matter what colour they are, that you're going to see more and more British nationals being pushed out of jobs, pushed out onto the streets, and we're going to start seeing people dying on the streets in the cold winter. The homeless crisis will get worse.
This is you speaking from intuition.
Intuition.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll note that down. Thanks, Denise. That's her intuition. Here's Ipswich. Hello, Gary.
Hiya, Nick.
Gary.
Well, that hundreds of billions of pounds, that keeps many rich people very happy.
Yeah.
Because the money
the defence
down
industry.
into their bank account.
Yeah, the defence racket, yes.
Yeah, so now you know, so that's why we spend it. I'm agreeing with a lot of what you're saying tonight.
What?
It hurts. But there's so many parallels with what you're saying about the Queen and being unelected and costing a lot of money, not value for money, and overrated, and
just that issue itself, that the Prime Minister of the day, up to his eyeballs with busy, and he has to drop everything to go and spend the afternoon chatting with the Queen in secret. Why?
Well, they're all interrelated, isn't Cameron, the Queen's nephew from about sort of 10 down or something?
Well, we're all the Queen's nephew from about 10 down.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, agreeing with a lot of what you're saying, but there's so many parallels with the EU. Unelected leaders, you've got given what you've given. They're not valued for money. They cost us more than what we're putting in.
Well, all of that's completely wrong, Gary, as you must know.
That's your spin on it. But
no, it's not my spin. It's the truth.
My spin on it is
all this. Wait a minute. All this nonsense about unelected European Union. Well, if anything is the opposite of democratic, it's this country. We have an unelected leader who answers to an unelected head of state who is overseen by an unelected upper house.
Well, you look at the disdain that the European leaders are putting upon our country.
Well, are you surprised the grief and aggravation that we've caused them over the last 3 years? I'm surprised they haven't chucked us out.
But the people that have caused that aggravation are people like Theresa May that didn't deal with the issue.
Us. We have. Our lot. Our side.
Yeah, because she didn't want to leave. She was messing about. She was playing a game.
That's completely incorrect, Gary. That if they just okayed that perfectly fine deal that she came back with, we'd be out by now and we'd be talking about something else. But it's still going on, dragging on, making this country the laughingstock of the world. Holy moly! Donald Trump is running America, and we are the laughingstock of the world.
Oh, shut up!
How embarrassing is that? Yes, we absolutely are. The rest of the world is just looking at us with their mouths open.
Tomorrow, when we start our campaign for winning the World Cup, and then we will hold the Cricket World Cup, and then the Rugby World Cup, and then hopefully we'll win the Euros next year, you'll be thinking, wow, isn't our country great, instead of knocking it.
Yeah, I'll be thinking, wow, somebody must have slipped something in my drink.
Well, what I don't get is tomorrow we're going to have about 3 different national anthems. We're going to have the Scottish playing theirs. We're going to have the Welsh playing theirs.
What's tomorrow?
And, yeah, on the rugby scene.
Oh, rugby. Oh, well, I'm certainly glad you brought rugby up.
Boring.
God,
And we'll be
not
playing the
remotely
national anthem.
interested. How is that even a sport? Rugby is just a bunch of steroidal freaks running into each other.
we must join. We must join in then, Nick.
All right. As soon as I can locate a muscle, then I'll be right there. Billericay, Terry.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Terry.
Yeah, I'd just like to like a little chat about Corbyn and Boris. Do you know what I mean?
Go on, then.
Yeah. Well, my opinion is just too much. Corbyn's just too much. He's too extreme to the things he says he wants to do, and all the promises is billions he wants to borrow, whatever he wants to do. And I think we're better for the devil we know, Boris Johnson. But
we don't know him though, because he's only just become Prime Minister.
Yes, but we know his policies, don't we? We know what he's all about.
But we know Jeremy Corbyn's policies and the Lib Dems policies and the Greens policies. We know all of their policies because they're telling us.
I was going to vote Green, but now I'm voting Green. I'll be voting Lib, so I won't be voting. I would like to vote for Boris, to be honest with you. But he just seems a good old boy to me. Do you know what I mean? He's down to earth, and despite him being
Boris Johnson is down to earth. I think that's probably the only time he's ever been accused of that.
Well, in my opinion, he seems that way to me. You know, he's not very good at talking, is he? He's blustery and everything. Do you know what I mean? And he talks his way. Like I'm the same, actually. But do you know what I'm saying? But,
no, I have got no idea what you're saying. You were going to vote Green, but now you're going to go vote Lib Dem, but you want to vote Boris. You're all over the shop, Terry.
Oh, wait a minute. I said to you, I would vote Green, but now, if I vote Green, I'll be voting Lib Dem because they've pulled together, apparently, haven't they?
Oh, all pulling together as a team, right.
Yeah, well, that's it, so I won't be voting
Well, there
Green.
seems to be factions rising here, there, and everywhere, baby. Everyone's teaming up in order to try to quash the competition. It doesn't sound like a democracy to me. It sounds like a stitch-up.
Well, it's such a mess. The whole thing's such a mess. Like Brexit seems to be such a mess, doesn't it?
No kidding. Like, latest news. Brexit's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess, isn't it? Nobody
Have
knows
you just woken up from a coma, Terry? It's been a mess for 3 years now.
Yeah, I know. I have. You have woken up from a coma. I've just been woken up to reality, a little bit of reality.
Okay, well then I have really bad news for you, by the way. If you have actually been in a coma for the last 3, 4, 5 years, then here's the bad news.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
Let's go to Worcester Park. Hello,
Yes.
Adata. Adata?
Yes.
Adata.
Agatar.
Agatar.
Yes.
Agatar.
Yes, that's correct.
So, right, well, we're off to an excellent start. Go ahead.
Okay, well, so all I want to... Oh, God, it's a little bit confusing because
So far,
what I was
yes.
trying to get through, it was about, you know, the whole European Union and... So I just wanted to say, as me as a Polish citizen, I was so happy to vote to leave the European Union, and I am kind of supporting Boris only because he's doing the right thing, but yes, he's not doing it in the right way. But
well, you really are making a lot of sense, Agatha, whatever it is we've decided to call you. You're making some excellent points.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a slightly strange subject to.
Yeah, I know it's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, but anyway.
Moving on.
No, but I just wanted to bring a fairly simple thing.
If only.
When my
in terms of European Union, if my husband, who is English, wanted to go back to Poland and live there, he would literally have zero benefits or any support there. And if I wanted to come to the UK and live here, I would have all the benefits in the world. And
in the world? Wow, that sounds great.
Well, no, obviously we know what kind of benefits you can get in here. So my question is, why is it fair for the European Union to say, okay, well, you have to provide all those benefits, but then if someone from the UK that wants to go,
because the rule is that
country,
everyone gets treated the same. That's why.
Yeah.
So, can I help you with anything else? Well, you're all out of material. Okay, excellent work. Plasto, hello, David.
Hello there. Yes, what I'd like to say is the European countries which we trade and work with, we should get together with us, Great Britain, and vote to get rid of the EU.
What?
And then we can carry on without the borders and restrictions.
What do you mean, vote to get rid of the EU?
Get rid of them, because look at the problems that they're causing us now. I mean, we don't know whether...
Yes. The problems that they're causing us?
Yes. Yes, I mean, to say, where are we going to go? I mean, if we don't have a deal, or we have a deal, and that's going to be worked out tomorrow, nobody can make up their mind. If we had no deal, then we're in limbo land, aren't we? Are we not going to get anything? We have not put any ideas forward to who we're going to trade and work with. And that will be a disappointment to Europe, because Europe wants to trade and work with us. And we want to work with them. But there's something in the way, which is the EU. We can trade and carry on as normal without them. They are upsetting.
Right, so we can trade with the EU as normal without the EU. Is that what you just said?
EU. No, trade with Europe without the EU.
Right, so
what they're doing is taking all our money. They're going to up the price of our contribution to what we pay every week, and also this £39 billion they keep on about.
Yeah.
They owe us the £13 billion because they ruthlessly caused us to divorce them in the first place.
I don't know whether I'm being trolled anymore. I don't know whether people are saying things as a joke or whether they're serious. I can't tell anymore, which is alarming.
I'm sorry, but I thought it would be a straightforward trade between us and Europe.
So we could unilaterally vote to dismantle the European Union?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're making a lot of sense, David. Keep thinking, because it's what you do best. Brighton. Hello, Danny.
Hello, Nick. A very interesting programme. I've been laughing at a lot of the commentary you made earlier, and a lot of I was actually going to say some of those things. I'm stuck indoors because I'm not too good at the moment, so I've had an opportunity. I'm 65.
65 years old?
Yeah. And what it is, for the first time, I've taken politics serious. I gave up with politics 25 years ago.
Why?
And
what happened 25 years ago?
So many people in the country. I mean, 50% of the country just don't vote. Is it 60%? There are apathy. See, Nick, it's apathy, mate.
Yeah, it depends. But that you're part of the problem. If
no.
Gave up.
I want to come to this. I've been voting for the last 25 years.
Oh.
But no. I just haven't been listening to the stuff that comes for obvious reasons, like we saw tonight.
So you haven't been paying attention. You don't know what they represent.
Oh yes, I do.
It doesn't prevent you from having a strong opinion.
No, I have my opinions. I'm a socialist, and of course, what I can't understand is why people in the country don't vote. This is the point I'm coming to. Yeah. Nothing changes, you see. We have the top 5% in the country, the corporations and the banks that are laundering drug money. We have the top 5% of the country that don't pay any taxes. Duh. Why haven't we got any hospitals, Nick? Why haven't we got any education?
Well,
are people really that stupid?
Small
that
details,
they don't
Danny.
Get this?
It's not the top 5% that don't pay any tax. The top 5% pay a disproportionate amount of tax compared to their numbers, but they do also avoid paying almost all, well, a very great percentage of the tax that is avoided by the top 5%.
Well, what's the difference between evasion and avoidance?
Evasion is when you pay your...
You've got a good solicitor. You know what I'm saying?
Danny, evasion is when you...
Evasion is when you don't pay tax that you should be paying. Avoidance is when you don't pay tax. It's just a better word. They're getting away with murder. They have done for the last 40 years that I've been following politics.
Who's they?
Well, the Conservatives. The 5% at the top of the country. The pensioners in the country, the 10, 11 million that will vote, they'll get to the post office and vote because they want to keep their pensions. And they look after the pensioners because of that vote. But unfortunately, we have a nation in this country of, what is it, 60% unemployed, homeless,
60%.
3 or 4 million unemployed.
Danny, your numbers are all over the place.
No.
60%.
What? I'll tell you what. What was the vote last time?
What was the vote? What last time?
What for the general election?
What do you mean? What was the vote?
Well, what were the figures?
Which figures?
For the unemployment, for the national vote.
You mean what was the turnout?
Yeah.
Is that what you meant?
No, I'm talking about what was the vote. How many people voted?
So what was the turnout? That's your question.
Yeah. What was the turnout? 60%?
I don't know. It was.
So I'm trying to say though, Nick,
I think it was a bit more than that. I think I'm going to guess
70%.
70.
So
70% more or less.
Yeah. So we got 30% of people that are not voting. Why? They're starving. They haven't got a job, Nick. It's not a joke, Nick.
That's completely untrue, Danny.
Nick,
it might not be a joke, but it's also not true.
No, I'm trying to say to you, it's not a joke, Nick.
Yes,
you got me?
I'm hearing that it's not a joke, Danny, but it is also incorrect.
We've got, listen, okay, well, my figures might be a bit here or there. I'm not an expert
all
on the
over
subject.
the place.
Look at the politics tonight. Where were they? All over the place. None of them could give an honest answer. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And they're leading the country. Of course, I've got my figures a bit wrong, but I'm passionate about the unemployment in this country.
There's no great section of unemployed people in this country.
There's 3 or 4 million unemployed, man.
I thought you just said 30%.
No, I said 30% with voting. I'm talking about the unemployed in the country.
Yes, there's 3 or 4 million
unemployed.
Not million, it's 3%.
No. 3 or 4 million
3 or 4,
unemployed.
3 or 4%.
What they've done is, if you let me talk for a minute.
No, Danny, because everything you're saying is wrong.
No, it's not.
Just because you say it loudly doesn't make it a fact.
Well, it's not me, it's the phone.
I see.
What's wrong with my voice?
Well, can you back off the phone a couple of feet?
Yeah, okay.
Put it down at the kitchen table and speak to me from the hall.
Because this is not a joke.
Yeah.
You see, you're making it a joke.
No, but you're wrong. The unemployment is about 3 to 4%, something like that. Which is
it isn't. Nick.
Yes, it is. It isn't. Yes, it is.
Okay, where's our steel industry, the fishing industry? Where's
the fishing industry? I'm up to my eyeballs listening to people bang on about the fishing industry. The fishing industry is almost completely unimportant to the economy of this country.
I'm not talking about the economy. I'm talking about jobs. I'm talking about how many
people are employed in the fishing industry?
Well, you tell me.
Less than the number that are employed in Harrods, the shop.
That's the problem, Nick.
No, it's not. No, it's not the problem. It's not a hands-on industry anymore. It's been mechanised.
No. Why isn't it a hands-on?
Because for the same reason that people don't build cars by hand, because we do it in a better way now.
Look, we had a steel industry, a fishing, a coal industry.
We still have a fishing industry. A coal industry. What do you want a coal industry for?
Listen, we import more coal today than we ever did before.
We should not be using coal.
What?
Coal should be off the menu.
Why?
Because wind is better.
Wind. So what about the carbon monoxide from cars then, Nick?
What's that got to do with coal?
What are you going to do with that?
What's that
Is
got to do?
that worse than the coal? That comes from the cars.
If coal was being
why
burnt,
not with the cars, Nick?
oh God, he's another one of these what about people.
No.
Because by using wind power, we don't solve all of the climate change problems with one swoop. Then we should just not do it. Is that your position?
I'm talking about a coal industry where people work, where whole communities,
people
today are dead.
People are dead. Absolutely, they're dead because they did coal digging for a living.
Nick, you've got to understand this. It's not a joke.
You really want to go back to digging coal out the ground?
No, I'm not. No. You're debasing what was a work for communities.
Danny, you are out of your mind. But nobody on Earth wants to dig coal out of the ground.
Well, how do you know? They've done it for centuries.
It's because they didn't have a choice. They didn't have options. They couldn't sit at home and create apps for the internet. They had to go down to pit.
Well, the thing is, today you've got people sitting there like a load of robots on computers. They don't even exercise. Is that healthy, Nick?
Well,
Can we get rid of computers?
It's healthier than digging coal out of the ground.
We've got children that can't talk. They can't have a conversation because they're stuck in a little room with wires hanging out their head.
Right,
Is that healthier than running in a mining field?
Absolutely. Let's send them up a chimney. Give them something useful to do.
Yeah, you would. And this is the problem with the country. The middle classes and upper classes think that the working classes are stupid and dumb.
Only the stupid and dumb ones, Danny.
No, it's not a joke, Nick, please. I'm trying to be serious here, right? And I'm going to be serious with this. The point is, Nick, and you're missing it, we also voted in this country to leave the EU.
Oh, my God. If you say 17.4 million people, I'm going to disappear you instantly.
What?
I double dare you. Mention that number.
No. What I'm saying to you is we voted to leave.
Who's we?
The nation.
How many people?
We forget that. Forget that. I don't want to be thrown off the radio. And now what we've got is we're going to be we're going to crash out. Where did we get that word from? The people knew what they were voting for.
No, they didn't.
Eh?
No, they did not.
So what you're saying is that the working classes are too stupid to vote. What an insulting. You're an insulting idiot.
Yes, I would be an insulting idiot if I'd said that, but you said that.
You said that.
No, you said that.
You said it.
No, I did
not me.
not. Danny, do you have voices in your head? Do any of them sound like me?
No, see, you're making the joke and you're being sarcastic now.
No, it doesn't sound
like
me.
There's no need for it.
Sarcastic?
I'm passionate about the working classes.
Yeah.
I am a working class man.
A little bit
I'm
too passionate.
About hospitals.
You could do with a little less passion in your life, Danny.
Students that can't get educated.
Or a little less volume, anyway.
Well, of course, I've got to talk over you, haven't I? Hey? I'm always, you never seem to stop and listen to the other person.
Yeah, I know. My ears are bleeding listening to you, Danny.
Eh?
I need ear defenders listening to you.
I'm trying to talk to you, but you're laughing, and it gets me. You're getting me agitated.
I know. What can I be laughing about? It's a mystery.
This is not a time to laugh. The country is in tatters. We've got a government that couldn't run a bath, and this fiasco, what I saw tonight, these idiots and that bungling idiot Boris, for God's sake, he couldn't run a
fiasco continues on this show. All right. Hey, Danny, I've got to go because, I just got to go. Calm down, mate. It might never have. Oh, no, that's right. It already has. Well, my tubes are cleaned out. How about you? Woo! Stockton-on-Tees. Hello, Brian.
Yes, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Brian.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Brian. Lovely to speak to you again. Get on with it.
I say we do have one thing in common, Nick.
What?
We're both heathens. We're both non-believers.
In?
But by the time this Brexit's
non-believers in what?
Religion.
Oh, that.
So, but as long the time this Brexit is taken, we'll probably be arguing about it in hell, won't we? Pitchforks at three places or something. You know what I mean? Because it's just dragging on, and You've been talking about...
You can't possibly say that you're bored of Brexit. It's only been 3 years, Brian. Come on. Can't you get excited about Brexit?
Well, you're never going to get another referendum.
Why not?
Well, you've got no chance. I mean, the only chance Labour are getting if people start believing the freebies are thrown about.
Well, all the parties are promising freebies. Don't you think that this... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't you think that this election is, in effect, a second referendum? Because that's what people are going to be voting on.
What he done the last election, Corbyn, was he threw loads of freebies about then. Theresa May never done the opposite, and he done very well in it, Corbyn. A lot of the electorate believed his freebies.
He turned around a 20 points deficit, I think, in the polls, didn't he? And he had the best day for Labour in a dog's age.
But in that election, Nick, he said £10 now to school leavers then.
Right.
He said free tuition fees.
Well, does that seem like too much? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Brian, listen to me. Does £10 an hour seem too much?
Well, what it'll do, there won't be as many jobs if you do that.
Why?
And also,
but people seem keen to increase wages for all sorts of reasons and in all sorts of ways.
Right.
Because specifically, reducing immigration will increase wages. That's one of the things we keep hearing all the time. Cheap labour coming in from other countries has had a depressing effect on the wages of the poorest in the country. So that would be the poorest. So if their wages are going to go up to £10 an hour, then then they're still complaining, I don't know what people actually want anymore.
You give a school leaver £10 an hour, a school leaver. But the skilled person at that shop who's worked there 5 or 10 years will want £12 an hour, £13 an hour. The manager will probably want £15 an hour. It's not going to work. You know, it snowballs, doesn't it? And then...
Well, the scenario that you've just described doesn't sound...
Right.
Well, the numbers that you've said aren't remotely...
For a start off, you're on about the High Street, aren't you? The High Street. You said it's dying, the High Street.
Well,
right. So
when did I say that? I mean, I have said that, but not lately.
Just a second.
Go on.
So all these shops and that, school leavers go and work in the shop in the High Street.
Yeah, or wherever.
You already can't afford what they're paying for now. They can't stay open.
You people like you want it both ways.
What do you mean people like me?
People like you are constantly saying that you want to reduce immigration because it has a depressing effect on the wages of the poor. And so you want the wages of the poor to... Yes, you do. You want the wages of the poor to increase. But you want the wages of the poor to increase by reducing immigration. You don't want the wages of the poor to increase just by giving them a pay rise. I don't see what the difference is.
Nick, I've never said it reduced. I've never said that personally. I'll tell you why there's low wages, shall I? Why they bring them in. They bring them in because big business want it.
Well, big business needs it, Brian.
Yeah, cheap. They want cheap labour.
Well, but the consumer wants cheap labour.
Right. I'll put this to you, right. The reason it hasn't come down on the Conservatives, I said they'd bring it down to tens of thousands. They've never ever done it. Is because they're backed by big sponsors. People put money in the party.
Well, that may or may not be true, but that's not the reason. The reason that people are coming here and should be welcomed with open arms is that they are doing jobs that we don't want to do for money that we don't want to get paid to doing those jobs, and in circumstances and conditions that we refuse to work in. That's the reason why. And this thing about reducing immigration, we're going to have a points system, and all of the parties are promising fewer people coming here. But if they don't come here, who's going to do those jobs?
If Labour get in, right? Say Labour get in, right? They said it's free for everybody, the whole world as well. They said it could be 600, 700,000.
Well, the Conservatives said that's what Labour was saying.
For 18 years, since Blair let them in, 18, 19 years ago, there's over 6 million people come to this country extra, right? And they're not all workers. You You can't
that's complete. That is completely
Just a
untrue.
second.
That is completely. You can't just make assertions that people are coming here to do nothing or to avail themselves of our excellent social security, because that's just flat out not true. There's far fewer as a percentage of immigrants who are unemployed than people who were born here. People aren't coming here to do nothing. That's just not true. They're coming here to do jobs that are available because we don't want to do them. When was the last time you went to a restaurant and you were served by an English person or a Scottish person or an Irish person? I should have said British person, for brevity. When was the last time you went to a hotel in this country and the person who cleaned the room was British? We just don't want to do those jobs. So unless people come here to do them, they won't get done.
I was good at what I did. The crows come home to roost, and I'm the Duke.